everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 Thank
Aloha.
Hola, hola.
Thank you all for attending today's session. And we've got a special guest. We've got Pete, who's joining us today as well. So we're going to just go through CD7, Audio 7 today. And just a quick summary of Audio 6. It was all about feeling good now, defining your dream, how to do it, getting a burning desire for its achievement. And Katie also talked about the sweet spot as well. So a goal big enough to excite you and small enough to believe that you can get it. So now CD7, we're going to be delving deeper into defining your dream, your burning desire, your emotions, feel good now, and the 10-second miracle. So let's begin.
Shall we? So obviously Kevin Trudeau kind of so far has been mainly speaking about the thinking side of the training balance scale, the 99.9%. He doesn't talk about the how, the techniques, the skills, you know, the strategies, the methodologies. And we just wonder, why is that? Why does he only talk about the thinking, you know, the emotions, the feelings? Why doesn't he tell you how? You need to know skills and techniques. Why is that, guys?
Armin, you go first. You never go first.
Mario first. Translate to Oscar.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, well, why doesn't he talk about the how? Because this is part of the third basic concept. It's the training balance scale, which suggests that you only put your mind on the why, the thinking, the mental processes, your dream, your chief aim, the vision, and not so much on the how, because the how will present itself once you're correctly, when your attitude is right?
Yeah. Right.
So you focus on all this internal stuff, let's say, and the how will present itself once the first step is done. So that's why he's
going
not
back to the attitude, right? The facts don't count, because
exactly. So
when you think a thought,
yeah,
as we all know, it permeates all matter, and then that attracts itself into your life physically. So back to the training balance scale.
That's it. And also, you know, it's very interesting that society actually makes you feel like you need the techniques and skills,
business skills,
and
how
business
to create
skills.
wealth. You know, they tell you about seminars, you know, you have to go to real estate seminars, you have to go to learning how to sell on Amazon, learning how to sell on eBay. You need to know the techniques and skills. And most of these seminars I go to do focus more on the techniques and skills rather than feeling good now, you know, defining your dream and getting a burning desire for it. So I realized that the whole world is in reverse, and it's designed and set up to make you fail, because you instantly fail thinking, well, I don't have the talents, I don't have the gifts, I don't have the skills, I don't have financial or business skills to create wealth. So what's the point? You know, it's just not in me. I can't be Bill Gates, for example. Not that anybody wants to.
It's a technique purposely put on you to believe that you're not worthy and not powerful, to make you feel powerless. Hence for them to be in control, to control the masses.
Yes, exactly.
It's the how and it's the techniques, which is what most people think, which is why most people fail.
That's right.
Yep.
It's one of the
Keep you in a state of not achieving, no? That's why also they want you to keep on the same level you are, no?
It's to keep you at a swallowing at a certain level, so you never rise up.
Yeah.
I think it was in CD 3 or 4, we talked about the 4 reasons why people fail. And I think it goes back into one of those categories where one of them was your teachability index. People just refuse to learn and to change. And the one is where the biggest one, in my opinion, from what I see, is if I have a conversation with somebody about if they're asking me what to do or they're asking themselves what to do, and I give my advice, even though, you know, maybe it's not in their business, but the first thing everybody says is how. And I go, hi, I have no idea. So then you sound like a crazy person, which is what they want you to sound like.
Yeah,
because they think surely you must know how to do it. You need to know how to do it.
Did you take a course? Did you go to university? Do you have a degree?
Did you get a degree?
Do you have an academic background?
No.
I'm a Joe Lunchbox.
And he goes on to say, instead of defining what they want, they concentrate on what they don't want, and then encourages disbelief, and again makes you powerless.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's what it is. So when a thought is sent out, you know, your brain, like even a genius, a mathematical genius, couldn't comprehend the synergistic coordinations, the patterns, the synchronicities that are happening, because it's all happening off your radar screen. It's all happening in the quantum field, in the
Amazing.
more stuff.
I think it's in As a Man Thinketh, where he says the world you see is controlled by the world you can't see, the invisible world, I think he says. And thoughts all around us and permeating everything all the time. And he goes on to say then, which is quite intangible, where it goes across the universe. So it goes from one end of the globe to the other end of the globe.
Yes.
Still amazing, isn't it?
Space and time.
Across space and time. So Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this invisible part the quantum field, and sometimes you'll see us referring to it as the quantum field. So the quantum field is that invisible 99.999% where all the probabilities exist and potentialities exist. And there's an infinite number of potentialities of what could happen, you know, or what you can imagine. And so if you can imagine it, it's already there in the quantum field. And so think about that, you know, we can't figure this out, like what's happening, or the combinations of subatomic particles coming together into atoms, into molecules, into form, physical form, into this reality, 3D dimensional reality. And we can't comprehend. Even if you're a genius, you won't be able to figure it out.
You ain't that smart.
We ain't that smart. No.
Yeah, which leads us to the timing, because, you know, the universe will deliver your desire in the perfect timing, and it's called divine timing. Yeah, if you think about it, it's divine timing, and we can't figure that out, you know, when the right time is for us. We think we know, but actually the universe knows more of when it's the right time for us. Best point for us.
And then remember the observer effect, that the universe only exists because we are observing it, right?
But you said that last 2 weeks ago. That was quite mind-boggling.
Yeah. So this is just like a reminder of, like, when we focus and send out a thought, we're observing it, and we're causing things to change. We're causing subatomic particles to move and communicate with each other and come together to actually eventually give us that event or that.
Is it in The Secret, with the guy with the glasses? He says you can't have a universe without mind entering into it, because the mind's actually shaping.
Oh yeah, I think that was that in The Secret?
The universe. I can't quote him perfectly. I think it was something exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
It's the guy who was talking about the we are not talking about imaginary craziness.
Yeah, so I'm talking to you from a deeper, basic understanding.
Yeah, exactly, this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
This guy,
Yeah. And remember, these subatomic particles in the quantum field, they're beyond time and space. So you can't say that it's going to take time for one particle to communicate with another. It happens instantaneously. There's almost like an invisible link between one particle and another particle. And so communication happens just straight away. And then they rearrange themselves to produce that event, you know, what I was talking about, or that thing that you were desiring. So understanding quantum physics at the subatomic particle level and what the universe is made of, when you understand a little bit of the science of it, it actually can help to increase your level of belief that this stuff works. And it's not just woo-woo stuff, you know, just made up. It's actually, science is showing this, it's actually proving this in quantum physics. And, you know, I think Greg Braden said that there was the one experiment where two light particles were separated across time and space, and what they did with one particle, the other particle reacted just
same as the DNA in level 2 training with Trudeau. It's the same with the DNA. They stopped at 10 miles.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I think they did the double slit experiment, if that's right.
Yeah.
What's it called, Pete?
Double slit experiment.
Double slip. That's getting noted.
They fired a particle through something, but they realised there was an awareness which was watching that. So it's quite an interesting experiment there. But,
just proving again that it's true and not hocus pocus.
Yeah. So
you won't see it on BBC News or ITV News.
You won't be seeing it on that.
That'll be the end of them if it was.
And also the power of the observer effect is that they've also, studies have shown that when you have a randomized controlled trial of a scientific experiment with the strictest conditions, the results will still be affected by the observers, the people that are doing the experiment. So even though it's double blinded, so nobody knows, even the people that are doing the experiment, nobody knows what the variables are, what they're testing, the results will still be affected by them participating in that experiment.
Braden said this.
Yeah.
Participator of the universe. Yeah. So so the basic procedure is to have, be, and do. I mean, this is what he starts off.
This is what he starts off saying. Have,
obviously,
be, and do.
later on, he goes into be, do, and have. We'll just leak that in there. So number 1 is define your dream. Number 2 is get a burning desire for its achievement. And number 3, have high belief levels. Focus on what you want and keep doing it over and over again at the conscious competence level, so you get to unconscious competence. So it becomes unconscious competence. So the question, like, so the first question and the first step is like, what do you want? Because he says define your dream. And have you written it down, guys? Do you know what you want? I know Oscar has, and he's manifested many things.
Yes.
Oh, of course, Jamie
well
has.
I got my work stuff at the front, and then I got my goals at the back. I've got a chief aim.
Yeah.
Which is, I might as well tell you, it's mortgage free, a certain amount of money in the bank, and car free. That's my end goal, but I've got to go back to my belief level. So I got 3 goals. I done it last year and it worked. I hit my first goal, and there's my chief aim. I'm going to the next logical step all the time.
Great. You've got it.
I like that idea with setting the bar fairly low, because sometimes
you won't believe it
when something's too big. We should always have a grand vision, something to aim for, which gets us excited. But if that bar's too low, too high, we're not keeping it low enough.
You won't believe it.
You don't
it's difficult because you've got this kind of.
When I was to back you up, Pete, is when you have such a big goal, say it's £1 million, and you don't believe it, you don't transmit the frequency from your mind all the time, because there's lack of belief. And if you've got to have a chief aim. For me personally, it works to have 3 goals. So I have my first goal, which I know I can hit, and what you think you get in 6 months, I think Trudeau says. And then the next one is nearly my sweet spot, and the last one is a 5-10 year goal.
Yeah,
for me, for my belief level, so to make sure I transmit the frequency of what I want.
Yeah, I think it's important to have your own kind of way of finding out what works for yourself. There's so much information out there. There could be so much noise. It becomes a little bit overwhelming. So if you're more strategic in the way that you think about things, then you can make the steps towards it. If you're more kind of, when you learn about yourself and you work on yourself, you might find out that you're more sort of right hemisphere dominant. So you're good with your imagination. You can get your energy levels up there. And
making sure your energy levels are high enough where you're transmitting the frequency all the time.
It's the vibration which actually acts like the magnet to pull what it is as a belief into your reality from the unknown.
Vibrations that are the same attract.
Yeah, which really is your emotional state. So it is, like Kevin Trudeau says, all about feeling good.
Feeling good. Yeah, that's it. That's my favorite bit of all these teachings. Feeling good.
Yeah, it's so simple and everyone forgets it.
Everyone forgets it.
And you feel it now when it comes later. You get the experiences. People think you need the experiences when that's why when people want a Ferrari and they're on the sort of the dark side of the force and they've got really high emotional intensity, when they get the thing, they still feel the same. The stuff. So when they're going for this thinking it'll give them all this happiness, you can just feel it now, and it'll come to you. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Most people want to see it before they believe it. But
hey, that's the phrase.
That's how we're taught at school, isn't it? We're always taught
is believing.
We get taught about ourselves, and so we kind of I remember living in more of a magical world where everything was possible, and then of course you go through the education system and you realize how the conditioning works, and it becomes this thing of if you're not kind of behaving to that, then you're not going down the traditional route.
Thank God we're the black sheep of the families.
Oh, yes.
Thank God.
It's cool. It's cool to be.
Black sheep.
So the second step is, how do you define it? How do you define your goal? And there's three ways, which we covered last time, which was
Exactly what you want, the feeling, or just a feeling.
General and focusing on a feeling.
General, specific, focus on feeling.
That's it. So this kind of gives it away, this question. What generally is better
way to
way
define
to
your
do it?
dream?
Just to feel good.
Feeling.
That's the best way. But he does say general, keep it loose, you know, be general. But the best way, the ideal way is, he said, is, you know, focus on the feeling.
So simple, isn't it? So simple.
I know.
It's so simple.
And why?
Sorry?
And why?
Because life's so much more exciting. That's wrong, isn't it? Go on, tell me what it was.
It's true. It's true. It's since you're not like focusing on something specific, where you might think, when is it coming in? So doubt might creep in. So you're not waiting for something specific, and then you're much more open for anything that to come in. So
yeah, because if you're focusing on something specific, as you say, doubt can creep in, and then you don't blast out the frequency with high intensity, high power. So when doubt creeps in, it's a very low duration and intensity.
Yeah, and I think focus on the feeling is so good, because you know you are open to the universe then. And so
I wonder what exciting surprises the universe will deliver to me today.
Exactly.
Surprises, yeah. So it's such a
Maybe I'll meet somebody.
way of doing it.
Throw out a feeling you want.
Or maybe I'll meet somebody.
Yeah, maybe I'll meet somebody.
So you know that story of when
Joe meets Mary.
Hang on. And I drive around the road and I get a flat tire.
Oh, yeah, the flat tire one.
It happened to me last year, getting the new car. I was driving on the road, really blasting out. I was listening to Abraham Hicks, and my car conked out. Honest to God. I was in the middle of nowhere going,
What has actually happened to you, Jamie?
I phoned my fiance, my dad and my mum, saying, I broke down in the middle of nowhere. I've got a COVID test in 2 hours and it takes an hour and a half to get there. Oh my God. No, this is brilliant. You're not right, Jim. I said, this is brilliant. Really excited.
Wow, you had the right positive vibration.
You had the right
That means
positive
it's all going to
vibration.
work out.
It's like when you said like the Joe meets Mary story, but also the best restaurant in town. This is the best restaurant in town.
Well, you haven't
But you haven't eaten in all the restaurants in that town, so how do you know it's the best one? You know, so there's so many things, as we know, 99.999%
off
off your radar screen. So how do you know? You know,
Well, that's the thing, isn't
you
it?
don't know what you don't know.
We think that we are all aware of so much. Like we think like we're aware of everything, but really we are aware of so little.
Yeah.
Considering that we have a conscious and a subconscious mind, you know.
99.9% I think of the things you'll experience are off your radar screen, off your conscious. You don't know how they're going to come in. You have no idea how, but the universe will give you the right feeling in its own way.
Yeah, and he said ultimately we really want is to feel amazingly great, you know, amazingly good. So he does say feeling is a better way to define your dream in general. So not, you know, it doesn't mean you have to stick with that, but he just said generally that's a better way to define your dream. So let's say if you were just let's think about this when we're focusing on the feeling. So let's say if you wanted that dream house. So rather than be specific on it, would you be general, or would you focus on the feeling?
What he says is that you should just write down what you want in a house, I think, and where you want your family to just run off and play, or have the space or a lovely home to bring up your family, and then the correct, instead of saying this house, this way, this
house,
exactly.
Yeah, because we don't know.
No, and it could also be
how you want the house to make you feel. I want it to make me feel safe, secure, you know, protected.
Or you want to walk into a house where you feel cozy and it's just got this warmth, like it's hugging you, you know, that kind of feeling. So whatever, so you can do just literally just what the house is going to make you feel like when you step into it. And that's with anything. That's, you know, you could do it with a car, you could do it with a partner, you could do it. And you can be specific, you know, obviously he's given that example that you can also be specific with certain things. But I think I can get what he means by the feeling is actually the, you know, it just keeps you open to many things. And I think when I'm doing this and I'm focusing on a feeling, I find it easier. There's less doubt that comes in, you know, like Mario was saying, was it you, Mario, that you were saying about, you know, if you're too specific, then more doubt and more.
Like, where is it? Why isn't it showing up yet? Whereas if you
it can increase doubt, which means then you don't think about it because it makes you feel bad. So you're not in the sweet spot.
Yeah, you're either in your head trying to work it out logically, or when you're in your body, you're in that vibration. It's just the same as you said earlier. When your attitude's right, the facts don't count. So it's all about feeling, tuning into how it would feel to already have that which you want, and that's how it works.
Hang on.
Yeah. Are you taking notes, Jamie?
Yeah.
Me?
Oh yeah.
I always take notes. Yeah.
Oh.
I know this stuff anyway.
Yeah, but it's good to like when you do. I guess when you.
I know it.
I know it. I got it. So divine timing is, don't put time limit on it. You know, it happens when you have no more doubt, no resistance. You kind of let it go. So
that's why the best things happen when you least expect it.
Yeah. It's like the example of KT when he sold his ranch. Yes. Remember that story?
Yeah. I know the story.
He had some really good ones in there. Yeah, we'll get to them in this particular audio.
Yeah. So, do you know what really baffled me in that story was the 6 months thing?
Yeah.
That sort of didn't line up with me. I was thinking 6 months is, but he said there's no time limit per se, but I think 6 months is sort of the, I don't know, is it borderline sort of maybe the time? Because 2 years wouldn't, I don't know what I don't know is 2 years, I think 2 years would be too long. So I think 6 months is about the way. All his advisors are saying now's the time, now's the time, now's the time. Yeah. And it wasn't the time. And he says 6 months later, it came in. I thought, wow, okay, 6 months is quite a long time.
More than, he sold the property, isn't he, the ranch.
Major Hollywood producer.
Yeah, major Hollywood producer. Fell in love
and they offered him, he offered him more than,
and I had cash in the bank.
Guess what lined up with me? £2.5 million more.
Yeah. And what tells you that you're lined up? Like, how do you know you're in the sweet spot and you're really, you know, there's no doubt, there's no resistance?
Yeah.
What's the
thing
sign?
that we have? You know,
feelings.
That's it.
Yes. Did that?
How does it make you feel?
Yeah, no, it's your feelings, your emotional state, no? How good you feel.
Yeah.
No, it's I really like this painting of Abraham Hicks, no, the scales.
Yes.
You must be reading
online. You must have read online because we actually have a slideshow to show you.
Yeah, now really?
Yes, we actually have this. Guys,
what's that?
See today how
we are so connected.
Because we're all one.
Yes, because
we are all
one.
It's a very beautiful picture, no? The spiral, that thing.
Yeah, that's the one we're looking
Is that the emotional scale, is it?
Yes.
Yes, so we're just about to share it. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, got it on my wall.
There you go.
Now, yeah.
Guys, can you see that?
Got it.
Yeah, that's
seen that loads of times. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's not completely identical to what's Abraham Hicks one, but we just found that we like this one because it was just colourful.
Can I just say how clever that was for you to do that? It would have taken me years to try and do what you've just done there, screen sharing.
That was it.
and if you can see, obviously, you know, this one's split into two, so it's got the upward spiral, so all the positive emotions, and the downward spiral, which is obviously the negative one.
When he says liquid spiral downwards, he literally means that.
Yeah.
And look at the bottom of 22 of what all the media and everything is trying to put you in.
Yeah.
Depression, grief, insecurity, unworthiness.
And
I was
I have a question. I don't know if someone here, because I think Kevin already answered it, but I don't remember. The question is why there are more negative feelings than positive.
Ooh.
Good question.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Maybe that's
I'm gonna ask Oscar.
Maybe that's just an example, because I've seen quite a lot of these emotional scales. They're all very similar, But I think there are. Did they say there's more? I don't think he says there's more positive emotions, but I think that the frequency is a lot higher with a positive emotion.
Yeah, the positive emotion is more stronger than a negative emotion. So
yeah, the frequency is higher, isn't it? It's a lot more powerful. So maybe that's
we're conditioned to think more negatively though from a young age. So we're constantly bombarded by sort of negative news, or you can't do this or you can't do that. There's a lot of limitation around when we're brought up, whether it's from parents, from school teachers, from the media, from everything else. So the negative emotion part of our brain is, we tend to, but there's also something to do with the brain's, is it the amygdala? There's a part of the brain which is designed to,
okay, don't worry.
Yeah. Go on, Pete, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it might be fair to say that the collective consciousness, the common kind of emotions which we all experience, or a certain majority experience, are all the ones on the right, because as a collective we're only around sort of, I don't know, the early 200s perhaps.
It's the ether, isn't it?
Many people who are kind of really up there on the scale yet, so perhaps it's just a reflection of all of these ones on the right here. It's
what most people feel, I think.
Yeah, exactly, because
and it's a very, I personally think, on a selfish point of view, it's a skill where we're getting on level 3. It came up where he talks a long time about the global consciousness, and the elite put I don't know the word for it, but put it into the field the negative emotions to make you then think of those negative emotions. They're purposely put there from the media, newspapers, and then people then start talking like that, and then you become part of this global consciousness. But if you go to the positive side, correct me if I'm wrong, this is sort of what Chinese whispered from level 3, but if you are on the left hand side, the upward spiral, you are more powerful than anything on the right. That's I don't know if you understood that, because that was just going off the cuff.
Love conquers fear. Love is actually love, and those higher vibrational emotions are much more stronger. They're way more powerful. So
I'm gonna give an answer of Oscar. Oscar said, because the negative is too complicated and love is simple and beauty.
Oh,
I knew he'd say something like that. He comes up with one every week, doesn't he?
Oscar, that's a great one. Perfect. That's
yeah.
I love
Too
that.
simple.
Very good, Oscar.
Muy bien, Oscar.
Look at him smiling. He's so happy. Brilliant.
So that's great. That's
thing.
That's the truth.
I just want to add something in there if I can. Another thing is that we're made up of information. If we're consuming this type of information, which is mostly the stuff we see on the TV, which we were perhaps unaware of when we were younger, it's no surprise that most people with a television would be subject to that type of conditioning. Therefore, people get lazy. People don't want to do personal development work. Another thing that might be fair to say is, like, when you start to do this work, you get more positive emotionally. Then you start to realize perhaps that vibrations do exist, and it takes work. But I think one good positive thought is like 100 times more powerful than a negative one. But it's so much more easier to go to the negative, because that's what we're almost exposed to, collectively.
Yeah.
So most people feed off the suggestions of other people. They can't think for themselves. It's big problem, and we're in an information war. So it's no surprise that they're trying to censor so much of what we might consider the secret or the truth, to stop people waking up. And
that's related to the unconscious competence level, Pete.
Amazing point.
The 4 steps to the unconscious competence were the big ball of positive energy. So
yes,
related to that.
It's like a limbic hijack, subconscious mind control.
It is literally mind control.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
And you know that the other lower, so fear is one of the low emotions at 22, but there's also 21, which is insecurity, guilt, unworthiness.
Yeah.
Now, guilt and fear, this is a Dr. Zach Bush. He's a brilliant doctor, but he's very awake, very conscious.
Yeah.
And he said that what's happening in society at the moment is the fear and the guilt are the two driving things that they're making society, they're making society feel. So the fear is, you know, the COVID or like all this stuff that's going on. The guilt is if you don't get the vaccine, you are harming others, or you're going to, you know, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, then you are putting others at danger of the virus. And so a lot of people are actually feeling, and I've actually spoken to people myself, are feeling guilty. So there's a mixture of guilt and fear, two very low emotions, the survival emotions that actually shut down the immune system. And also when you're weak, when you're in fear and guilt, it's very easy to control people.
Yeah.
This is an amazing couple of minutes of talking, because it's exactly that.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
It's incredible, that is.
Yeah.
It's yeah, for a little moment there, I felt a little bit emotional. I thought that's absolutely true. And what Pete said was amazing. What you just said, Meena, was amazing, where it's just, we can just see it. And people, my sponsor is on the sort of same wavelength, not gone through the training with Trudeau, but has said, you know, it's just...
You know, you just wouldn't see this type of information on the mainstream, would you?
You'll never see it, because then people start thinking it, and then people think, hang on.
Yeah.
And so what happens is like because all we want to do, the majority of us, when we find out about this, we want to express ourselves. That's what people should be allowed to do, freedom of expression, just to put a counter narrative out there. But the people at the top here, they understand about energy, they understand about vibration and stuff. So they want to control that energy system. So they've got everyone's attention on the wrong things. So everyone's kept trapped, caught like a puppet inside.
People can't think for themselves.
Exactly.
They cannot think for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an emotional thing. You know, but the argument is these intellectuals and you know, these highly intelligent people, in a different way, they want to use logic to control the narrative, and they will use seductive ways by playing people's emotions to put them in that fear, so that they can keep them where they want them. And
it's amazing. It's so bleeding obvious.
It's like being in an abusive relationship. It's like, you know, they're telling us one thing, but the actions just do not line up with the words. And most people just listen to the words because hearing is one of the five senses. But if you're more intuitive, you'll trust more with your own intuition, you know, and normally women are a lot better than this than guys, actually. But when you work on yourself a bit more, you balance yourself out, and then you realize, actually, I can discern between truth and falsehood. I can actually see through the illusion. And so this is what's happening to all of us. We're waking up to human potential.
I'll always go back to what Meenal said on the first, I think it was the second or third, your wish is your command. And you said you are not utterly convinced, but it's a very high thing. You probably know what I'm going to say, is that they've put this in, the COVID and everything, because they were shitting themselves, basically. They were thought, hang on, there's people like us doing this, and we're losing control. We got to flatten them again.
Yeah.
And this virus is perfect for them, because they can do loads and loads of different things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a perfect one to try and control people. So the next slide is all about
so this is from Playing the Matrix book by Mike Dooley. He was featured in The Secret movie, if some of you may remember. So this is an extract from there.
We're not going to go through it in detail because it looks like there's a lot on this table, but what he's basically saying is that focusing on the feeling is he's just saying that attach yourself more to the happiness and getting your vibe up, whether that's gratitude, understanding, confidence, acceptance, tolerance, compassion, self-love, etc. All the good feeling stuff, and less detachment to the specifics, the hows of the project, the events, the people, and who's going to come up, the clients and the house and the specifics of it, because all of that is dependent on time, space, and matter. It's a bit more, you could say it's the illusions of what our five senses are focusing on. So
the linear mind,
the linear mind. So he's just saying move more towards this side of the table, the happiness part, than the other side, and detach more from that. So just really detaching from the outcome. So you still have the goal, but you're detached from it because you're really focusing on feeling good now. You're focusing on getting your vibe
back to backing up everything we've just said, isn't it, guys?
Yeah,
that
illustrates
That's it.
the general.
That's it. So we're gonna
Cool. That was amazing. That was cool.
So have a feeling that something wonderful is coming your way. You know, what happens when you get that, you know, flat tire? How do you choose to feel?
Maybe I'm gonna run into
You can
someone.
say,
Maybe I'm gonna have a business deal.
yeah,
with
maybe
someone.
I wasn't meant to go to this business deal because something else better is coming on
I got a
along
flat
the way.
tire.
You know, so in order, when you're doing this journey of like, you know, focusing on what you want, getting burning desire, and you're doing all the right things, and something seemingly bad happens, rather than saying, oh no, you know, I'll do all this, like, you know, high vibing, my vibrational's up, how did this happen? It's actually sometimes what seemingly seems bad, we've just labeled it bad, is just an event, but it's an event that leads us to somewhere closer to our dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Want a new job, want a new job, want a new job, want a new job, want a new job.
and then
And you get fired.
yeah, you just get
You want a new
fired.
job.
That's it. It's like your car, Jamie.
looks
You were
bad.
saying you wanted the new car, and then what
Yeah,
happened to the other car? So
And I remember like it was literally yesterday, because it scared the bejesus out of me, because I thought I was studying it like there was no time. I was literally obsessed. I listened to everything. We were all in lockdown, couldn't do anything else. Driving to this tournament, they managed to get this tournament on, and I'm driving along, and I just sat there pretending I was driving my new car, like I just unconsciously, probably programmed by Trudeau. And literally the car just cut out, completely cut out. I had to get I tried to didn't start up. I had to go and rent a car from the first dealership. I have to leave the car on the pavement. This is honestly, left the car on the pavement on double yellow lines, went to the tournament, was 3 days in the tournament, came back, my 2 wing mirrors came off.
what?
So my 2 wing mirrors been knocked off by people in the street. They've left the number, I phoned them. The damage cost £100. They sent me 300, so it wasn't bad. And then the car just worked fine for like a month. And then I had to run in the Crucible, and it just like changed.
Was it your battery which was wrong with your car?
Battery, yeah.
Yeah, I've gone through about 4 batteries with cars, and the same thing happened.
Have you got 8 Range Rovers now? Well, my car's all electric now, so I don't have, my battery doesn't go out again.
You know what that is? It's to do with the subconscious part. If you're in a more of a trance and you're in a high vibration, you're actually overcoming the other
physical
pieces.
The physical, and that was its root for me to go, something's happening.
Shit. This is what I've been experiencing. Like I've gone through like 3 or 4 batteries in the space of kind of 6 to 7 months. So every few weeks replacing one. It's
a boat coming by, or a helicopter.
Yeah, like
I don't know if Pete, I might sound mental. I don't know if Pete knows what I'm saying there, but a boat came by. I was like, there's one. There's one boat. I had so much fun doing that.
So the step 2, so we were talking about, you know, how to define your goal, general, specific, focus on the feeling. The second step is getting a burning desire for it, so a strong want for it, you know, but without resistance. Because but the thing is, and the question is really like, you know, sometimes when you want something so much, the lack of it comes in, you know. And I think Aman, you were asking about this last time in the last session about, you know, how do you, when you want something so much, how do you, you know, reduce the get rid of the doubt, really, basically, you know, the doubt. And the lack of not having it. So I wanted to ask Oscar actually this question about, you know, obviously Oscar's, you know, created a great life for himself, and there's certain things he's created, and you know, how is it that, how do you do it where you just want something so much but you don't feel the lack of it? I mean, did you ever feel that? Did you ever feel like you wanted something so much but you felt the lack of not having it?
should I translate to him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oscar está preguntando, bueno, que como tú estás creando muchas cosas en tu vida, que si cuando tú deseas algo con mucha intensidad, ¿sabes? ¿Sabes? Porque están hablando del deseo ardiente, o sea, enfocarte en algo, tener deseo ardiente, si tú sientes alguna vez de tanto enfocarte en ello, si sientes dudas, o cómo lo haces.
Tengo un truco que es sencillo. Simplemente pienso en lo que quiero con muchísima intensidad y ya lo doy por hecho y me olvido. O sea, no es que me olvide de ello, sino que ya lo doy por hecho y ya siento, o sea, como que lo tengo integrado, de que eso ya está así. O sea, no estoy pensando todo el rato en ello, pero sí que siento que ya está.
Vale, o sea que lo haces a lo mejor por 90 segundos, tal, y ya está, y te olvidas, ¿no?
No, o más tiempo,
vale.
Pero que... Y sí que de manera sola me viene muchas veces a la cabeza.
Vale. He's saying that he has a small trick. So he's saying that he focuses on something, he puts a lot of intensity, and then he believes that it's already him, right? And then he forgets about it. So maybe he's focusing on it maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then he forgets about it. So then he doesn't feel doubt, and more thoughts automatically come in. So
it goes there into the spiritual world, and then it comes in.
Yeah, so you don't leave any room for doubt, really, do you? Because you focus on it, you feel good, you feel like you've already got it, and then you
the intensity,
and then you stop thinking about it,
and then you keep busy doing something else that you love during the day.
Okay, I get
like
that.
the approach you used when going first class, you know.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Thank you for reminding us. Yeah.
And actually, I remember that there is one nugget of gold from Kevin Trudeau. You know, he has the Nuggets of Gold newsletter, and there's one lesson about it where it's outlined this technique you said, that you can focus on it and then just forget about it. This is also described in one of his lessons.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think the confusion a little bit is that in this CD, he does say duration, do it as long, well, he says do it as often as possible rather than as long as possible.
Because it goes in hand with Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret. You know, you become what you think about most of the time. So it's almost like he's encouraging you to think about your burning desire, think about it all the time. I guess if it's a burning desire, you automatically will think about it all the time. But then also, you know, if you do think about it all the time, some people are, because they really, really, really want something, they're also frustrated that they don't have it yet. And then you're introducing, you know, doubt. And
the lack is the trick, I think. Definitely. Because all the things I've manifested in my life, there's been no lack. And all the things I haven't manifested has been from lack when I was first starting it. But it's like, how did he explain it? He says, sometimes you'll hit some, sometimes you'll miss some. And you're not going to, I think, did he say drive? No, what is he? Not driving a car. But sometimes you'll have good hits, sometimes you won't. And it takes practice. You've got to go through the conscious competence until it just happens automatically.
Until it happens automatically.
Yeah.
I'm feeling amazing.
There's also one part in your visual command that Kevin says that whenever you're focusing on what you want, also try to balance it out during the day with emotions, no? Feeling good, no? So you don't.
That's right, yeah.
I think that's also a key.
Yeah, that's definitely a key thing, the feeling good
Because that's
part.
also helping to release resistance. When you just focus on feel-good activities and you're just vibrating feel-good emotions, even if you've set your intention in the morning that I want this dream house or car, and then you don't think about it, but at least you're feeling good for the rest of the day. That will help to release that tension and stress.
And the step 4 is the belief, no doubt. So, you know, you already have it. You know, your belief is 100%. You've got it already. You know, it's like that, and that kind of feeling. It's like the when you're excited about the Christmas presents underneath the tree. You know, you haven't got it yet, but you know it's going to be there on the next day. So you're feeling that excitement already. You know, even though it's not in your hand. So, or that check in the mail. There's another example.
Yeah, you said that in the other audio.
Yeah, about you know
the money making secrets. They don't in the audio. And then he also said about the check in the mail, about £100,000 guaranteed. Well, he said dollars, but £100,000 guaranteed check is coming in the mail. You know it's going to come, but you can't cash it in until after 24 months. Until after 2 years, you can cash it. But
But
you know
it's
it's going to
yours.
come, but it's yours. It's there. You know, and it's on its way, FedEx Express. So yeah.
So I think we've answered the next question already. You know, if you feel bad, you know, your emotional guidance system, if you're feeling bad, that's an indicator that you've got fear, you're thinking of the how, you're looking at your radar screen, you're just looking at the facts, you know, based on what your 5 senses are saying. But all of that, remember, the radar screen is completely irrelevant because it's 0.00001%. It's a tiny 3-inch diameter of what
The
you
facts.
You think it's so real.
Look at the facts. Look at the facts.
So when you feel excited about what's off your radar screen and you feel it's already there or it's coming to you, it's like the Christmas presents again, going back to that, that's where you want to be. So the next concept is when he says success in life is nothing more than a decision away. Right? What does
He says that a lot, doesn't he? He says that a lot.
Well, what does he mean by that? What does that mean? I mean, everything that Kevin Trudeau says, like even if it's just a sentence, like with the attitudes, right, the facts and count, there's so much you can say just about that one sentence.
Dig deeper.
Yeah, you dig deep. So success is nothing more than a decision away. What does he mean?
Yes. Like I'm sure some of you must have made a really strong decision, you know, intense particle flow. And then you say these words.
I'm going to do it.
That's it.
Period. Yeah.
That's it. You decide, regardless of the facts, right? You don't care how.
There's
You cannot
evidence, but I don't care.
Yeah. You cannot even see how it's possibly going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But you decide, I'm going to do it. That's it, period. Your belief level is up. You have no doubt. You're focused. You're feeling good despite all the twists and turns to get there, like the flat tire or something going wrong, or, you know.
Do you mind if I share a 1-minute story? What happened to me with a snooker when I was 18?
Yeah.
I hope it's not too boring. When I was trying to turn professional, and I've tried for 2 years, and I kept losing first round, second round, first round, second round, first. And I was good enough to be in my head a professional, and I was 19, and it was a choice between carry on playing snooker or go into the RAF or get a job, because I had everybody down my back saying, you know, you're wasting your time, you're not earning any money, blah, 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 all that all the time. And I had a bath, and I let the bath run for, I had the bath, and then I sat in the bath for 4 hours, so emotionally charged, without any water in it, without any water in the bath, because I was so gone mentally. And there was a moment where I lifted, it's a bit tragic, but it's true. I lifted my arm, I lifted up, and I just went, I've had it. I've had it. I'm going to the next tournament. I'm putting 12 hours a day in on my own. I'm playing 1,000 blacks of the spot, 1,000 pinks of the spot, 1,000 blues of the spot. I'm going to drive to that. And it was, I'm not quite saying how emotionally intense I was. I was nearly crying. I was so, I wanted it so much, where my whole being, it was just like an explosion in my head, where I'm having it, and that is the end. And it was like tunnel vision. Everybody's like talking, and I was like, I'm going there. And 4 weeks later, I won the European Men's Championship, the youngest ever at 19. Wow. And I went to the hotel room and I turned pro. And I was like, and I practiced the 12 hours a day. I wasn't unhappy. I was absolutely thrilled to be practicing 12 hours a day, every single day. Yeah. Everyone thought you must be bored. I was like, no, I'm not bored. I'm absolutely, I'm going that way. So just for me, I'm not sure if I explained it very well, but to me that was, I was sat on the back for 4 hours.
Yeah, that's a proper, like,
full-on success. You epitomise the examples of all.
That's what happened, and I was sat there. You know, I'm lucky. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. As he says, now I'm like, oh my God, that's how I got there. That's how I didn't get that. That's why I didn't get concentrating on what I didn't want. I hope I don't lose. I hope I don't lose. I hope I don't lose. I hope. Amazingly enough, I lost. But when I was like, I'm winning, that is the end of it.
I'm winning.
And I fully believed it. I was on full intensity, as he said, you're on fire, baby, or something. And it was, that was it. That was it for me. So
that's,
I can.
Really powerful, because like, if you've got that sense of, I can do this, like you've got that belief and I'm going to make it happen. It's that moment when.
That was the moment for me.
That's quality of intention. When you set a strong intention like that, like there's no doubts, there's no fear coming in, something happens. And you know, I think I love hearing stories like that, so thanks for sharing.
No problem. I don't know if it'd be boring, but it was the moment of my life where
not at
everything
all.
changed. Then sorry, the following day I was on The Secret. I was on Jim Rohn. I was on Earl Nightingale, and I was 5 hours a night watching everything, and I was 12 hours a day practicing with 5 hours sleep, and I was the happiest man in the world.
That's full on. That is
And it was like my intensity was like.
Such a young age as well.
That's amazing. Oh, thank you so much.
So that was a big moment for you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no,
Thank
that
you for
was
sharing. This is
Anyway, it's half 10 now. It's half 10 now.
So your thoughts are 99.9% of the training balance scale, which has created your life, whether that's good or bad, you know. So, you know, he gives the example of a car crash. You know, when you get a car crash, were you thinking of a car crash? Of course not, you know, but you were vibrating something.
You may have, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, you may have.
Yeah. You may have.
It was the feelings that you were vibrating.
Yeah.
So whatever feelings you were vibrating, the universe gives back to you a circumstance or event or situation or a person that gives you that same kind of feeling. It matches that. So the question is, and it kind of goes back to success is nothing more than a decision away. It kind of ties in with that, is the 10-second miracle. What is this 10-second miracle that he talks about? In fact, later on, he actually says it's not even 10 seconds. It's like a nanosecond or 5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 is what I remember, the 5-second miracle.
5-second miracle, yeah. So what is the 10-second miracle?
The moment you realize.
The moment that you realize that you're 100% responsible for everything in your life.
Yeah, everything in your life.
Everything.
Everything. And
I also wanted to add that making a decision also means that you're turning back to what you don't want. Like looking at what you don't want, having a contrast and being able to define what you really want, turning the back to it and say, hey, I'm going to do this. That's it, period.
Yeah.
A decision, I just looked it up because it was a word I had to illuminate. Decision means literally to cut off. So you cut off something that you don't want, and then you make a definite decision to go for what you want.
oh, that's
It
really
has a
interesting.
Latin derivative,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, gosh, thank you for sharing that, Maria.
Dissect that word. I knew that.
Yeah,
I forgot
decision.
but yeah, decision.
The moment you realize you've got to turn your back on what you don't want, which is what everybody feels, the normal people, what everybody feels, I don't want this, I have such bad relationships, I have such a bad job, I have this, I have that, and you're on full power, baby, he says.
Yeah, yeah. Turn your back on it and then go through to what you do want.
Indecision is the thief of opportunity.
Yeah, oh, I like that.
Said Jim Rohn.
Peter Trudeau.
Oh my God, I love that.
It's so true.
Taking 100% responsibility of your life, you know, what happens in your life, that's your 10-second miracle. It's so empowering when you do that. When you realize that you are at cause, not at effect, that empowers you, because that's when you know that you can do something about it. You create your own reality, you create your life. If you didn't know that, that's very disempowering, because then you're just dependent on outside circumstances and people.
Wallowing.
Yeah, and then you feel a victim, you know, mysticism, blaming outside influences for everything. You know, you're in victimhood, you're powerless. And that's what the controlling elite class want you to be.
Yeah,
they want to keep you. How are masses controlled? Victim. It's not your fault.
It's the government. It's the economy.
It's the economy.
My mum and my nan used to say it all the time to me.
Yeah, it's blame this person, blame that person. So you don't have to take any responsibility. It's everyone else's fault, not yours. So this is, you know, this is what the world is designed to make you feel. You're a victim. So,
but why is it called mysticism, guys? This is just a question we're curious about. Why did he use the word mysticism to describe, you know, blaming outside influences for everything that's happening in your life?
I googled that word about 6 months ago or a year ago. I couldn't find it.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Is it in Google? And let me just have a little look. Would you know how to spell it?
Yeah, MY.
MY.
That's a believing outside influences control your life, no? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
believing outside influence. But why did he call it mysticism?
Because he used that in like Hindu words, you know, like superstition.
We
and
use mysticism in like
the mystics of India, you know,
Or
the
the
mystics
woo stuff,
woo stuff,
yeah.
For me, it was like mysticism sounds like this. There's a mystery that's like you can't see what it is really. It's like a very cloudy, like a mist. You know,
because the way Trudeau says it, and I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense, that word. And I've googled it now, and I can't really find any. Maybe it's been taken, I don't know, but it's the powerless emotion is what it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Got to eliminate mysticism.
Yeah. And also what Mario said was the mystery of it, the
Maybe it's derived from the fact that
it's yeah. The reason why I asked this question was we were curious. That's why, not that we have the answer for it. It was just genuinely curious about the word mysticism. And I might look into it later on just a bit more.
just
but I think it ties into superstition as well.
Oh, Mario, were you going to say something?
yeah, I just looked it up. I'm gonna just post it here.
Any mode
Thought or life in which reliance is placed upon a spiritual illumination.
believed.
So does that not? To me, that doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah. Any mode of thought or life.
I wouldn't trust everything you read on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Google Kevin Trudeau. It's good fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
Google
it's all
exactly.
bad stuff.
Exactly.
He's a con man. He's fraud. He's
But look at this bit. It says enlightenment, a term of reproach. Oh no, that's enlightenment, implying a self-delusion or dreamy confusion of thought. That's interesting.
Okay, so that kind of ties into
Okay.
well,
Now that was
self-delusion.
So what is that saying? I can't make heads or tails of that.
I think I'm just getting the gist of it, that maybe mysticism is it's delusional, it's self-delusional, that it's the outside.
Is affecting your life instead of it's all from within.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I think the mysticism is that it's actually not true, that the outside affects you. It's actually the other way around. You affect, you're at cause, you're not at effect.
In the magic of believing, the 13-minute little audio tape that it talks about Hitler and how he used autosuggestion for the world and kept them compressed and brainwashed the whole nation. And it says it's not important. It just says one sentence at the bottom, says that all is within, and that's everything is within, which is then broadcasted out. But if you circumstances,
Yeah,
it doesn't do much.
So, and the miracle, the 10-second miracle, the word miracle is because, you know, why is it called a miracle? It's because it's that quick. You know, it's a 10-second miracle, that realization.
Your whole life changes.
And your whole life changes from that point
onwards.
onwards. Once you take full responsibility, you will see things in a different way. You'll
reflect back on you'll be retrospective of your life, of why everything happened the way it did, and how you caused it as well. And this happened to me.
Co-created it with others. Yeah.
So
how do you, the next question is, how do you increase your desire?
By feeling good.
Yeah. That's it.
How do you increase desire? He says we're going to talk about this because this is a key element.
Yeah.
So I think it's to
Oh, you just froze there.
I think it's one part in it. I think he says putting pictures up of what you want and everything, but I don't think that's the answer.
No, but that's part of it actually, because he does talk about that.
To make you think about it more.
Yeah. So reduce doubt.
Increase belief. The reason you don't have what you want right now is because you doubt that you'll get it. That's what he says. Yeah.
Yeah.
He says the way to increase belief. Yeah.
And what is doubt then? What is doubt? You know,
it's looking off your radar screen. Yeah. Or it's doubting you. Sorry, it's looking off your radar screen.
Yeah.
Doubt is looking off the radar screen.
And focusing on the how.
On the facts, the how.
How's it going to happen?
And what you don't want.
Part of the training balance scale.
Yeah.
So again, he says you can feel what's off the radar screen.
Now, he gave a very good example about this, that story about the $450 million. Where we're coming out, where are we coming up with the $450 million? I'm not going to get all the facts right, but the gist of the story is that Katie was sitting down at the table at one point with his
Barbados.
attorneys or whatever in Barbados, was it? And
the accountants are looking at each other. Solicitor, I think solicitor, when I was getting the mortgage, and they said, yeah, but you can't afford it, you're not going to be able to get the mortgage. And this was like a year ago, 6 months ago. I was like, no, I will, sorry. Yeah, but there's no income, Jim. Yeah, I'm just phoning you to say I'm getting it. I could afford it about a month or two later after the World Championship. I said, there, I see. Well, you didn't know that, did you? I said, no, I did. I just tell the truth in advance.
Tell the truth in advance.
Yeah.
Falls off your radar screen. You had this knowing this. So Katie had the same thing. He said, I can feel it. I know it's coming in because we're all so excited. We're so excited, and we just know it. We can feel it. It's a knowingness. We don't have to talk about it, because if we talk about it, doubt will creep in. We're not going to discuss it. There's no point. We just know it's coming in, and it obviously happened.
That was a mini rant for Kashmir there, but it was absolutely right.
So rationality, logic doesn't come into it. Just
that's
accept it. It's going to happen. That's it.
You can begin to feel what's there. I found really important. It's not there, but you can begin to feel what's off the radar screen.
Yeah, feel what's off the radar screen.
Oscar is saying something else related to how to increase burning desire. Just a little thing is believing in yourself, but you are, and listen to yourself, and knowing that you have the Aladdin's lamp.
Oh, yes.
Can you repeat that, Armin, if you don't mind? I heard you. I just want to make sure I really got it.
Yes, Oscar is saying that one of the things to increase burning desire is by knowing who you are. Knowing who you are, believing in yourself, listening to yourself, and knowing that you really have the Aladdin's lamp.
That's the bit about
the lamp.
Love it.
That's so cute. Rubbing the lamp.
Love it, Oscar. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. So this is going to happen. I know it. It's off my radar screen, but I know it's there. It's going to happen. That's it. Just accept it. Your inner reality actually becomes more real than your outer reality. So what you imagine in your mind, what you believe to be inside, is more real than what's showing up at the moment on the outside. And that's where the level you want to get to.
I've had some of the, sorry, Mel, carry on.
I'm just saying that the thing that helps as well is meditation.
Yeah.
Because we're plugged into this matrix and we've got this 5 senses, it's very easy to see the economy, the government, to react and to be distracted.
Plugged into the matrix.
Yeah. So meditation actually helps you to just eliminate all that for a little while. You're overcoming your body, the time concept and environment. What's
yoga's good as well.
And you're actually making your inner reality more real than what's going on outside. And when you actually imagine it and you really get yourself into the alpha state and you're imagining it, you start to feel it. And sometimes
you don't need the stuff.
Yeah, and you'll feel it so much that you don't even care it's not even happened yet outside of you, because you're feeling it.
You're
so
high in
inside.
imagination. This has happened to me. I said, I'm so high in my imagination right now. I actually don't even feel like I need the actual thing.
Because I'm just feeling so high inside.
I'm just lying on my bed. Like I'm sitting up on my bed and doing a guided meditation, and I create and generate a feeling of happiness just in my own bedroom. I didn't have to go out anywhere. I didn't need to smoke no shisha. I didn't need to go to no nightclub. I didn't need no partner kissing on me. I was totally fine upstairs in my bed, all alone in solitude, listening to the creative guided meditation, and I made myself smile. How cool is that? I didn't know I didn't need to cook a burger. I didn't need to have ice cream, chocolate, nothing. How cool
I had some of the most incredible experiences. I was telling my fiance about a few months ago, some of the most incredible experiences of my life. Not in my life, listening to Kashmir's thing on YouTube, which is how I attracted you guys into my life. And it was just the most blissful.
So touching.
Seriously. I'm Oscar this week. It was the most driving the car, living in the house. And when he says about the guy in the forest, and you're not here, you're there.
Yeah.
And it's very true. You can experience anything you want now, can't you?
Yes, you really can.
Yes. That's
I remember we went out to a coffee shop just yesterday with our other friend, and she said, just imagine yourself on a beach or in a yacht. Instantly I smiled, because for me, yacht just signifies opulence. It makes me feel good when I visualize myself sitting on a yacht with a hot tub or something, and I just pictured myself there, and I instantly made myself smile, and I felt instantly
And then it comes flying into the physical world. That's the magic. It actually comes flying in.
All I have to do
So
is
the
imagine it
main
first,
thing behind all of this is to always work on
always
feeling
work on
good
feeling good
now.
now.
Your number one goal
every minute
to
of
every minute of the day is to feel good now,
to
or feel
various degrees. Yeah,
better than you're
how
feeling right now.
Yeah.
And that's one of the messages that he's going to say throughout, including level 4. That's going to be, you know, he says it a lot there, doesn't he?
Level 4 training.
Yeah, level 4 training.
Yeah, feel good now.
And if you feel bad, any negative emotion,
to any degree,
the two things are, you're thinking and emitting a frequency about what you don't want, and you're thinking about what you want, but there's doubt
that you'll get it.
that you will get it.
There's only 2 reasons you feel bad. He talks a bit in level 2 with me. It's either you think about what you don't want, or you think about what you want and you doubt you'll get it, which makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
Which in effect is what you're thinking about what you don't want.
That's it.
Yeah,
Exactly. So when you, so now he talks about that, we're almost coming to the end. I know we've gone a little bit over today, but we'll come to the end of it soon. So the thought, he talks about the positive and the negative ball of energy. So you have a thought, you think of that thought with power and intensity, which means belief, excitement, strong desire. You do it over a long duration, and then you attract other matching thoughts, right? So that thought gets bigger and bigger. The energy ball of that thought gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then stuff then starts to show up on your radar screen, right? So it could be
coming in closer and closer.
Yeah, it gets closer and closer. You get signs that you're getting closer and closer to it. And it's the same with your positive and negative ball of energy. You know, if you can grow your positive ball of energy and that will get your negative ball of energy smaller. So you want to get to that tipping point.
Yeah, the tipping point
of having more positive thoughts.
People go around with a cloud around their head, don't they? Most people go around with a cloud over their head.
Yeah.
And that starts to dissipate, and then your positive ball of energy gets bigger.
That's it. And, you know, believe it or not, you know, we might have to practice positive thoughts, because we might be
unconsciously
conditioned.
Competent at thinking negative.
Yeah,
You're
unconsciously
a genius at thinking negative.
So at a conscious competence level, you have to practice positive thoughts. And he says for about a month, because I think that's when you start to develop new neural pathways in your brain. And once you do that, once you start hardwiring yourself with positive thoughts, your negative ball diminishes. Those wirings, those connections of negative thoughts start to diminish. And actually now neuroscience shows it in real time of actual neural pathways joining together and ones that are pruning apart. And it actually shows it. They just speed it up, but they show how a brain changes through connections of new ones and the loss of other.
Hence the frequency then you blast out and comes back.
Yeah, that's it. So then it becomes automatic. It just becomes a habit to think positive thoughts, but we have to train ourselves to think positively, because we may not be naturally positive. Some people are, you know, some people do tend to think a lot of positive thoughts.
And they pop the champagne when a disaster happens.
Yes. So when your positive ball of energy is greater than your negative, that's when your life changes, you know.
Magically changes.
Yes. And so he says again, the most important thing is to feel good now. And as we're coming up to the end of this audio 7, just want to emphasize that feel good now. Don't pay much attention to the radar screen. So anytime you notice yourself paying attention to the economy,
can't travel,
how is this going to happen? You know, it just seems impossible. I've got no idea how it's going to happen. Just remember, it's just a small part that your senses are seeing or hearing or feeling or touching.
And everything's transient as well, guys. You may think COVID, vaccinations, restrictions, lockdowns, whatnot, you know, I can't do this. What's the point of desiring travel now, because I'm not going to take the vaccine?
Ideas are a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Bug's life.
I
gave me goosebumps.
You are small, pathetic losers.
Yeah.
And you know this power, don't you?
That was really powerful.
That was really powerful.
So your inner reality, remember, inner reality, you want to make it stronger than your outer reality. You don't want to get caught up too much with what's going on outside of you, especially if it causes doubt in you or lack. And like we said, meditation is one of the tools that can help with this. Like visualization meditation, you know, you can do that, or just you know, whatever works for you. So that comes to the end of
CD7.
audio 7.
That was awesome.
And audio 8, just a quick recap of what we're going to go through for our next session, is more about the most important thing, which is feel good now. Gratitude, dream building, more to all the tools and how to do it. And so lots of exciting stuff, like lots of tools he lists about how to feel good, basically. And yeah, so there's lots of exciting stuff in CD8. So we look forward to seeing you all there.
Look forward to seeing you all there, and may you never be the same again.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.